Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Standing 8. I'm Paul Fitzgerald.
I'm Ben Damon, and we're here with, well, the two most famous surnames in Australian boxing, really. Fennick, Jeff Fennick, and this is Tim Tszyu. Tim, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you.
You sure it's Tim? Looks too much like his dad.
He does look a lot like his dad.
He sure does.
You would have been through that journey. He made his debut, his dad, on your undercard. What are your memories of Kostya before we start talking about Tim?
I was pretty blessed that obviously Johnny Lewis and Bill Morty brought him out here, and it was my job to wine and dine Kostya and make sure that he loved Australia. I done that. We had an amazing time, and he ended up signing with Bill Morty and us guys in Australia. But I'll never forget watching him just dismantle everybody as easy as I've ever seen. And I still think to this day, and I say it, and I still think in his prime he beats Floyd Mayweather, he beats Oscar De La Hoya. Not you, mate, and talk about your dad. You'll get there one day. But yeah, I just think that, man, when I watch this guy train and spar in the gym, he was just, he was very, very unique. He done things differently to all the rest of us, trained a little differently and brought different things to our gym. But wow, what a great fighter. And like I say, no disrespect to Ricky Hatton either. I just think that was he got Kostya at a great time. That happens in boxing, and take nothing away from Ricky Hatton. All he can beat is what's in front of him. I've lost fights and I've never made excuses, but that wasn't the Kostya Tszyu that I knew.
We've spoken about that Ricky Hatton fight before and how difficult it was for your family, the aftermath of what had happened there. What are your memories overall of your father's boxing career?
Oh, I obviously saw the good things that happened in the sport. But I also got to see the other side, the side that not many people get to see as a boxer, as an athlete. That's the crankiness at times, the pure discipline. When my dad was training, he was super focused. Something like I've never seen before.
You've called him an army sergeant before.
Never experienced. That's the type of relationship me and dad had.
Yeah, maybe you should look at the Jordan documentary because I look at it and I see that. That was Jeff Fennick. I went to the window. That was Kostya Tszyu. We ran every morning. And Kostya was a little different to me. He was in the gym for an hour longer than me. I was this guy who got in there, worked my backside off, and went out. But Kostya would stay a little extra and do all the things. Obviously, coming from Russia, he had a much better boxing technique and background than I did. So he worked on a lot of different things where I was just used to doing pads and doing my hard work, and that's what I done. I went home. My job was over. But yeah, when you talk about discipline, this guy's dad was supremely disciplined.
Get a bit of a fat lip there, Tim.
Well, we did start sparring a few days ago. So
how's that going? Training? There's a working date, so we know that we're working towards late August for Tim Tszyu against Jeff Horn. How's this process been? This period of not knowing? How's your training been?
It's been unknown, but at the same time, I've stayed super focused because I know that there's going to be a date ahead. I know that there's a task in front of me, so I didn't give up on anything, and I kept my mind sharp. Did a lot of training, and I knew that the opportunity would come, so I knew that I had to stay ready.
Tim, there's been a lot of time to watch video at the moment because during this COVID, I actually happened to see the Zerafa Horn for at least 2 or 3 times, and I watched it really closely. And I'm going to be honest, because prior to any of this, I just thought, wow, Tim's going to win this fight because of your great skill level and everything else that you've got, And the one thing that I never even consider is that your name's the same as the great Kostya, because I've watched you fight. I've seen your own skill level. I've seen you growing up. But the more I've watched Horn against Zerafa, the harder I now believe it's going to be for Tim. I used to think, wow, Tim's just going to, but did you get a chance to watch him against Zerafa a few times?
I did.
He's just so awkward, Tim, for me. And just seeing that the strength of the guy and the will that he has to win, it's a big thing. It's a hard object to move.
Yeah, but I believe he's got a lot of gaps that I can utilize, and I'm not worried at all. Actually, because I'm super focused. I know the job ahead, and don't worry, I got him in the back.
Well, I hope so. But I want to go back to even prior to that. I've been pretty blessed, as you said, because I was around Kostya from the day him and his Tim's mother got here. I just want to remind him of things when Tim was old. Tim hasn't been to this house, but we've spent lots of time together, travelling and stuff. Tim, you had teeth before you can even Tim actually had teeth in a couple of months, and he was eating like meats and stuff. I couldn't he's just baby eating meat and that.
You've said this before, eating raw meat as a
he was eating meat and stuff as a baby. Like, this kid's got had teeth. I couldn't believe it. You still did you ask your mum about it?
No, I actually haven't spoken to her about it.
Right.
But I should hit her up while you're feeding me meat.
It's the craziest thing that he's just a little baby and you usually put it that, and he would smile. He had teeth coming through, so it's crazy. But like I said, I've been really blessed to be around him, and obviously of late I haven't watched him train, but I've watched his progression. And people always say, "Oh wow, if he can be half as good as his dad, he's going to be." Or if he is half as good as his dad, he might be one of the greatest Australian fighters in history. That's to be half as good as his dad. But like I said, I'm sure that Tim's job, and he's not worried about it, isn't to be half as good as his dad, it's just to be as good as he can be. And that's why he trains so well and he's so confident. He's got a great team. I mean, having Glenn Jennings, I'm sure, is a big plus for you and your team. You know, he's been around the sport for so long, around your dad, around the world, and been around some amazing people. So honestly, when I heard that Glenn Jennings was there looking after Tim, I thought, wow, that's one of the big boxes really ticked off, because Glenn's somebody I really respect.
Tim, you're talking about your mindset before, and you say super focused, and obviously your dad was a bit of a drill sergeant, super focused. Do you think that's a Russian thing? Yeah, in terms of the mindset, is it the mindset of a champion? What?
I think it's the mindset my dad had. It's been brought up by me, just to be in this certain mind frame where there's nothing that distracts you, and there's nothing around you besides you.
Yep.
And you're fighting and you're training, and that's it. And because of the way my dad was not brought up, but the way he thinks, I think it's come to me now.
Yep.
Have you found this period frustrating that you haven't been able to have a fight? You fought 4 times last year, 4 times the year before, and you haven't had a fight yet this year.
Yeah, of course. I love to fight. That's my job. That's what I do. And the main thing for myself is to be better at it and to get better each day. I continue to strive and be the better person than I was yesterday, and that's how I live my life.
Tim, do you feel you're learning each fight? Do you feel you're getting better?
Yeah, I do. I do. I feel like there's, of course, every opponent brings out different side of you. Every opponent is going to come out doing something different.
Of course, styles make fights. You know?
Yeah, and by experiencing all different types of opponents, going to America, sparring different fighters, that's how you're going to learn as a fighter and become better than what you were yesterday. And, I've only been in this sport for 3 years, considering the fact that I've been fighting for 3 years and I've sparred and fought all different types of opponents. It's an exciting time for myself.
What was it like in the States at Wildcard Boxing Gym and experiencing Freddie Roach and those sort of boys?
Well, it's unbelievable. First time you walk in, you're sort of starstruck.
It's different.
You can't believe what's going on. And then once you get in the ring, it's the same thing. It's a doghouse. You got to fight, and you got to fight for respect. And in Australia, everyone here knows you. There's sort of a bit of mutual respect around here in Australia, but there's nothing. So it's either it's kill or be killed,
100%.
and that's what I love about it. And I love getting into that zone where you don't feel comfortable, where no one knows you, and where you got to fight for what you believe in, I guess.
Yeah. What was the highlight of last year for you? You had those 4 fights. You stopped Ent Vassell on Galen Hopewadi. You made your headline act debut as a main event.
Yeah, he was lucky to beat Jack.
Against Joel Camilleri. Great fight with Dwight Ritchie, and then that fight against Jack Brubaker where Jeff Fennick threw in the towel.
I wouldn't say I've got a specific highlight. Specific highlight for me maybe would be that I get to have this year as an opening year to bigger and better things, because again, I don't set myself goals. I want to keep going and keep striving for something that is completely unrealistic one day.
What did you make of Tim's performance when you were in the other corner with Jack Brubaker that night? I think we saw a different style of Tim Tszyu, a far more aggressive one that wanted to make a statement. What did you think as the opposing trainer?
Yeah, well, strange things. Like I remember the promoter, who's my great friend, Matt Rose, in all the press conference, tell me to, say that Jack was going to win. I couldn't say that Jack was going to win because I knew for Jack to win, he had to do something really, really special. And then, look, we were training great and I got really sick, so I never made an excuse. And Jack went along with his work and he got in and done the best he could. And that on that night, that was the best he could do. And even prior to the fight, I'm trying to explain to Jack, slow down. You know, Jack's doing these jumps and warming up like 30 minutes before the fight. I said, Jack, you're going to need all that energy against this kid. And look, he learned something from the fight. And look, he went up a weight. But look, this kid's on a different level. He's, of course I got Jack ready and obviously I looked after him, but I knew that the guy we were fighting on that night was, not an average guy from Australia.
So you sold the fight well, Jack, didn't he? He was fun.
Yeah, it was really entertaining.
He did get under your skin a little bit. Like you could see that there was some reaction coming.
No.
I
was actually
Wait, he gets on the fucking mind.
Yeah.
Jesus, excuse me.
Everyone's different, you know. So let him be Jack. That's just
Did you see him on Insta yesterday? What he got?
No.
Well, you have to look at. He got invest in some penis enlarger.
Yeah.
So he's got, and he puts it out. That's Jack's Jack.
Yeah, he's a character.
Well, he is saying he's got a small dick, so I wouldn't be saying that anyway. So, you know.
How do you stay so calm? How do you not let these guys get under your skin? Like it'd be easy to let them,
Yeah, of course.
frustrate you.
I'm super confident that I know that at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to beat them. So whatever people say and whatever they do, it doesn't bother me.
Did you have to train your mind to be so strong-willed or
That's a good
calm?
question. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm in.
No, you're born with it.
Born with this
when you believe in
nature.
it, you can't. Obviously, your mind's everything. People, I love the conversation where people say he has a big heart. No, everybody's heart's the same size. It's the mental capacity that makes a difference. And this tells you whether to stop or to start. My heart don't tell me to stop or start. This gives me the message. And if I'm ready to do it and I know I've done the work, then I'll do it. And to me, nothing comes from the heart. It all comes from the head.
Yeah, definitely.
Very different prospect in terms of an opponent this time around with Jeff Horn, the way he is outside the ring. We did our launch press conference and we've done a couple of bits and pieces for this fight already before it was forced to be rescheduled. But it's a different prospect, isn't it, to a Jack Brubaker, what Jeff Horn provides? Yeah,
well, Jeff Horn's been on TV before. I think that Jack's was his first time, so I think he's an attention-seeking type guy, Jack. So for him, it was he couldn't believe it. Well, for Jeff, this is another time. This is another day for him. Same for me. I know that I've got a long career ahead. So, I just got to stay focused, calm, and don't let the event get to my head.
What do you think of him, Jeff Horn?
I think he's an awkward fighter, strong fighter. As a person, he's a bit of a nerdy type guy. That's it. I've got no disrespect for him. But
I watched that.
He's trained by a nerdy type guy, that's for sure.
I watched that press conference, and there's almost too much love between you guys. There was no ill will. There was no sort of barbs.
That's more respect than love. Yeah. And like I said, the one thing
I tried to get it going.
You did.
There's nothing you can do.
The one thing that is going to be a big difference between the Brubaker fight and the Horn fight is that Horn is a naturally bigger man.
Yeah.
Jack was like around the weight for weeks before. We knew all that, so we went into the fight and all that. But for me, this fight with Jeff Horn, he's fighting a naturally bigger guy, so he's going to be much stronger than Jack was.
You hadn't watched those two Horn Zerafa fights until the lockdown period, but now you have seen them. What are your thoughts? What did you see from that first fight where he was beaten and obviously underdone, and the second fight where he produced that miracle?
Again, I can see little gaps. He's strong. He, as Jeff said, he's strong. He's awkward. He comes at a style that you don't expect and you can't really train for. But I see gaps that I can utilize, and I'm not preparing for him. I'm preparing for a better Tim Tszyu at the end of the day.
Tim, I want to ask you a question. That second fight, do you think the referee made a mistake and it allowed Jeff Horn to win? I 100% think that the referee was terrible, and I think that he erred because, like I said, you don't stop the fight when somebody's getting beat up to fix a cut. If you're going to get knocked out, you get knocked out. You don't stop all of a sudden give a guy a break to go and fix a cut up.
Imagine if the doctor had stopped the fight on the cut at that point, because it would have gone to the cards.
100%.
And then Jeff would have won.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that Jeff would have, but he was in a very bad position. What did you think, Tim?
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be stopped for a cut. because Michael was all over him.
Yeah, at that stage.
I thought Michael was going to look like he was going to stop him.
Yeah, well, we all thought he was going to stop him.
And you know,
amazing.
Jeff Horn's been in a lot of the times in that position where he's completely out and he looks like he's finished by his facial expressions, body expressions, but somehow he sometimes
comes back.
Continues
against Pacquiao.
But let's just say that on this occasion he got a minute and a half to recover and then to come back. You know.
Well, he got a little break, and then he produced that right hand, which was something else. Amazing moment. Yeah, he's obviously a very, very tough guy.
So, Ben, I asked you, do you think that he could have produced that right hand without the break?
I don't know. It's hard to say. And I didn't think he was going to produce it even with the break. No one did. I thought he was still gone. I thought Michael Zarafa would have pressed and eventually finished him in that round, but he dug deep and produced that punch from the gods. So, yeah, it's a controversial moment.
Well, know one thing, and I'll say this not because Tim Tszyu on, but if he's in that position, Tim's not going to give him any opportunity to breathe after that. And that's obviously Kostya was the same. Once he hurt you, you stayed hurt.
I had a look at the betting prices. You're still a massive favourite against Jeff Horn. Are you surprised how strong a favourite you are with everyone?
That's not up to me. It's not up to me. I can do what I can only do what I can do. You know. It's a good feeling though. That means people have got belief in me.
Yeah. Are you surprised how strong a favourite Tim is?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I sat there and like I said, I've seen this kid grow up and I've seen everything that he's done, and then I watched those fights. And I thought, wow, this is going to be tougher. And look, the great thing is that this kid's ready for that. He's not overconfident, like although he speaks the way he's speaking now and believes himself. But I know that he's going to do the work that he needs to do to accomplish what he needs to accomplish. But like I said, I think it's going now after watching the Zarafa 2, I think it's going to be a much tougher fight than I thought.
So if you were in the corner with Tim Tszyu or making plans through this preparation, what would you be advising him to do against Jeff Horn?
I would just let Tim do what he does, but making sure that when he does it, he does it with his hands up and he's always alert. And you really just can't relax against Jeff Horn because he does things, I don't know, that are unexpected. And like I said, he's got an amazing mental capacity. Like Tim was saying, that you look at him and think he's tired and he's done, and wow, all of a sudden he finds something. And so you've got to stay alert for the whole 12 rounds. But like I said, but I know this kid on my right is that, and that's why I never wanted to be part of the circus saying that Jack's going to beat this kid. Yeah. Jack was going to do his best, and that's all Jack done that night,
What style of fight do you think we're going to see in this fight? Do you reckon Jeff's going to get his way and drag Tim into a brawl, which is obviously what he wants? He's even got a cut on the poster. Or do you think Tim can stay outside?
The one thing that would be, for me, the most important thing for Tim and his team to voice at the rule reading is to make sure that he can't hold and punch. These guys let him hold and punch in all the fights. And I mean, it's great he gets away with it because he's busy and it looks like, but there's a few things that have got to be explained prior to the fight, and they've got to be expressed, and you've got to make sure that they've got a referee that's good enough to do it, because I think that at the right distance and stuff, I don't think that Jeff Horn can trouble this guy. But in a rumble and in close and doing what he does and getting away with some of the things that he's been able to get away with, it's a different kettle of fish. So, I just believe that, Tim has to be really ready that if the referee doesn't abide by the Marcus of Queensberry rules and lets him hold and lets him hit him around the back of the head and some of the crap that Jeff does, it will frustrate. I don't care who you are, you'll get frustrated. Are
you happy to brawl with him if that happens, if the referee does let him stay inside and drag you in?
I work on specific punches, specific tactics, specific things for years and years now. So when I'm going to be in a certain situation where I'm going to face a certain opponent that does certain things, I'll be ready. And I know for sure that whatever he brings, I know I'll be ready, because he's got to be ready for what I'm going to bring.
What are your ambitions in the sport of boxing, Tim? Obviously, post Jeff Horn, you've got a tough fight coming up, but where do you want to?
Just to be the best I can be, and goals that are completely unrealistic, but only realistic to myself.
You promoted Matt Rose. Have you spoke to him about fighting overseas? Because, like I said, I'm just going to let you know that although I drew 15,000 people here, and man, one of my biggest regrets is that I never fought in America. you're blessed. Your dad there, they know your name, but nobody really knew who Jeff Fenech was until the latter part of my career. And, so, I mean, America's the mecca of boxing. Yeah. That's where people remember you forever.
Of course. I think America's the place I want to be. That's where, as Jeff said, the mecca of boxing, and that's where I want to be at, is the top position, the top dogs, fighting the best.
What are we talking? Undisputed, multiple division world champion?
All of that stuff.
All of that?
Yeah. Paul, everybody wants to be undisputed, but in my day and age, you couldn't pay people enough to defend their belt because they thought, well, if they lose against Jeff Fenech, then their gravy train's gone. So they kept this guy fighting. So, but today things are changing and some of these guys are taking risks and they're fighting. So, I have no doubt this kid could be undisputed exactly the same as his dad was.
Yep.
What about weight? Do you think you're going to stay super welterweight for, the indefinite future, or do you have plans to head up?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm growing still. I'm only 24. So
have you put on much weight through this period?
I've done a bit. Not too much fat.
Yeah.
I feel physically in good shape.
Yeah.
That's not what he asked you, mate. So you put on weight.
I think I've put on a little bit.
Yeah.
Because bloody I am.
Because you made the weight pretty easily throughout. Maybe the first couple of fights was a bit different, but now that you're a fully fledged professional, you've done it pretty easily. Do you think that's going to continue to be the case at Super Welter?
Well, we'll see. Yeah. I'm still growing.
We all have a system. We all have a system, and we know that we have to starve for a while. We know we can't drink for a while. He's done that. His dad done it. His dad was amazing at it. Like his dad would put on 15 to 16, 17 pound after weighing, which is crazy. They were blessed. They weighed in the day before. I weighed in the day of. I weighed in at lunchtime. When I tried to do the same thing, by the time I was just about to go out to the ring, I was on the toilet, losing some of the stuff that I put in me. So these guys know what they've got to do to make weight.
How influential, Tim, is your dad in your boxing career?
Well, in my boxing career, I don't think he's not as involved. He's played a big part in my life. I am who I am because of him right now. But in terms of my boxing career, we keep family as family and business as business. And it's better for him to sort of stay away because, you know what, when he did come to my first fight, I could feel his emotions. And it was actually quite uncomfortable because he's the type of guy that he's a control freak.
Yeah.
And I was in control, and he couldn't. He didn't know how to control himself. He
didn't feel comfortable.
He didn't know how to control himself at that point.
Obviously, Tim's saying that Tim knew exactly what he had to do, and his dad was trying to tell him what to do. But Tim's got his plan. That's honestly, that's what I really love about Tim, and that's why I think that he's going to be better than and half as good as his dad. Because this kid. Yeah, when I watch him, I see that the eye and the movement, and then when you listen to him talk, for me, it reassures me that this kid has got what it takes to do what a lot of people think that he can only do because of his dad, but he's doing it because of himself. Tim, I'm trying to mate, you're going to go into bigger and better things, and you're going to shock a lot of people.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's a fascinating relationship that Tim has with his dad. I did a podcast with the two of them when he was in town ahead of that the Brubaker fight. It seems that he was a far harder man when you were a kid than he is now with these young kids in Russia. Do you think that it's good that you came through with that version of dad, or would you rather the softer version that's around now?
100%. I wouldn't say that my dad was liked when I was growing up with him. And he wasn't the type of dad that he was always there. He was strict. He was a hard on. But now, with his boxing finished, he's a completely different man. He's happy. He's soft. He's found the soft side in him. And before he was all hard.
And now, of course, if you ever ask Tim away from the camera, he always says he would have beaten his dad, no problem.
He's a tough fella, that guy.
But what about your mum? Your mum's been amazing for you.
Yeah, my mum's
been a great support.
She's good support, and she's always been there.
A little loud?
Huh?
A little loud sometimes?
Oh, of course.
At the fights.
Make sure that she's the loudest one in the room.
I've got the headphones on and you can still hear her very, very clearly.
She's been amazing support for her kids.
What's your profile like in Russia? Obviously, it's huge here.
You did an ad over there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Whenever I go there, I'm always with Dad, and It's quite strange the way Dad is there.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like in Australia it's not as appreciated, but there he's a rock star, like a superstar, where
so he should be.
Not just a household name, but a name that every single person knows.
Next level.
Whether you're a young kid, whether you're an old person, every single person knows. And it's quite hard for him to walk around on the street because he'll be getting bombarded everywhere.
Yeah.
In Australia, we have that privilege where people won't stop you everywhere you go. You can go walk around in the city. You can go walk around in the street.
Yeah.
In the streets, and you got that freedom.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's a Michael Jackson type guy in Russia.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when you look exactly like him as well.
Can we compare him to somebody else, please?
Michael Jackson. I was surprised by that.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
The wrong surname.
Didn't know where we were headed.
Timmy. Wait until Dad
He
that.
won't like that.
No, he won't.
Gorilla.
He's soft now anyway. He's not going to do anything. So it doesn't help that you look exactly like him. And, but it's all right.
You don't really have that stereotypical upbringing that most boxers have. You know, that you weren't involved in running around the streets and all that sort of stuff. What sort of drove you to become a fighter? Was it because, you know, you saw your dad in the gym and you just wanted to sort of emulate that and that's what you were used to, or?
I don't think so. I've always had that ambition in me to become a boxer.
Yeah.
I remember being in America and seeing him and his brother. That was only 2 gloves. So he put on the right glove and his brother put on the left glove. And they boxed. Mate, it was a war, and I'm not sure. His other brother's got amazing skill and ability as well. So, I'll never forget that day. You remember that, Timmy? Yeah, the Hall of Fame.
My brother loves to punch on as well in the ring.
There's always talk about how talented he was as an amateur. Any chance that he comes back to the sport?
You know, he put a lot of dedication into boxing, and he's the same as me, my dad, in terms of mindset and focus. And he puts the exact same mindset and focus into architecture. So he can stay up 3 days in a row without sleeping and do his work, you know, and he's got what it has to succeed as a person, whether it's boxing or whatever he does in architecture. He'll be successful in whatever he does.
Tim, you close to your brother?
Yeah, I am.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess architecture, no one's punching you in the head either.
Exactly. And you don't have to eat chicken with broccoli every day.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't drive a car like you yet, but either. Brother Tim.
We were saying that everyone's been watching old fights through this period. I dare say you've been watching a bit of boxing as well. Anything that's stood out? Any greats of the past that you've taken something from in this period?
Matreski?
Been watching a bit of Trinidad actually. I've been a big fan of Trinidad. Roy Jones, of course, he's my all-time favorite fighter. Him and Mike Tyson. Just been watching those classic fights because that's the era that I remember watching, and I grew up with watching boxing. I don't watch boxing as much today anymore. Not so familiar with what's happening in the world. But yeah, I remember those 2000s and late 1990s.
Yeah, Roy Jones was, to me, one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Yeah. And I mean, God, you know, again, what happens to boxers when we go a little bit too long, and they really forget of when he was at his best. Wow, he was untouchable.
Yeah,
his speed and power was like, if he was boxing today, let me tell you, Golovkin couldn't do a round with him.
No.
I'm just honest, and no disrespect to those guys, but wow, there's not even a comparison.
What do you do? Same as Mike Tyson.
I look at Deontay Wilder. I've said it many times. Like Tyson Fury, he's got this skill and ability, but Deontay Wilder just stands there and thinks if I hit you, he would have the chance to hit Mike. You know, Mike had skill and speed and power with it, you know, and you know, I don't know, it just upsets me to hear these guys. Even look, obviously, error's an error, and we speak about different people, but I can't believe how people can even compare them, you know, to those guys, or to Lennox or to Evander. Like Evander was smaller than, but Evander would beat all those guys today.
What about super welterweights internationally? Anyone that you've got your eye on as a potential future opponent?
Of course, all the world champions.
Yeah,
because that's the position I don't want.
Who's the weakest of them for you?
It doesn't matter. I don't want the weakest. I want the best.
Yeah. Tim, you think you're ready for that?
Yeah, of course. I've got true belief in myself. Like when I went to America, I've been there. I've sparred Manny Pacquiao. 15 or 16 rounds we did with each other for 2 weeks.
So that's the great thing. Ben, that's what I told you about young Brock when I've taken him overseas and let him spar and I've seen what he's, so I know what he can do. And that's where you find it out. You don't find it out, training or run. You find it out actually in the boxing ring. And, for him to go to the States and spar those great guys and think, wow, I've more than held my own with. I used to do the same with Hussein brothers. We used to go to Freddie Roach's gym and spar everybody. And they'd always think, wow, who are these two guys from Australia? Because they were always competitive and belting the guys over there, you've got to do that.
What do you do away from boxing, Tim? What do you do away from boxing?
What do I do?
Or is boxing just,
No, boxing's just a little part of me.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a lot more to life than just boxing. But right now, these next 10, 15 years is only boxing.
Yeah.
And to get to where I want, it has to be my number one priority.
Yeah.
But there's life outside boxing.
Yeah. Do you have a hobby that nobody knows about? Or
you know what? I've recently started doing a bit of surfing.
Yeah.
Love doing
Russian
a bit of surfing. But I love just being out in the water, being in the fresh air. That's
Tim, I'm going to give you a little tip of mine.
Yeah.
I've got a famous saying that I say. When I go to restaurants, there's no sharks ever eat dinner with me. I don't go and swim with those kind of animals. Trust me, mate. Just stay at home, get in the pool.
I'd love to have a little wrestle with one of them anyway.
Good luck. Go and ask Mick Fanning.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And you're back sparring now. Is that quite intense training at the moment?
Yeah, of course. It's always intense.
Yeah. You've got, what have you got? Probably 10 weeks or so, 11 weeks maybe for the fight.
Yeah. So, yeah. I've already started training a long time ago. I've always remained training.
Okay. And what do you think Jeff Horn's done in this period?
It doesn't bother me. My main focus is myself and to become what I was better than the day before.
So Tim, what's a day in the life of training for Tim? What do you do?
Well, I wake up in the morning, of course.
Hope so. We all hope that happens.
Yeah,
That's right.
I go for usually 8-9 kilometers run. Then I do my usual a bit of strength training, a bit of chin-ups, push-ups. Sometimes I do a bit of a circuit with my strength coach. And then whether it's sparring or pad work, I do that in the Arvo. Rest in between, eat the right food, of course, and just stay focused.
So 2 sessions a day, Tim?
When it's in peak time, 2 sessions.
That's good.
Yeah, 2 sessions.
But the second of them's a big session. I was I don't remember when that was, but around the time we announced the venue for the fight, I came and watched your session, and that's full on training. You're at a really advanced stage there. It seems that you've gone to another level in your training for this particular preparation.
I feel like I need to not just push myself, but to outwork my opponents in every caliber. And that's what
doing the work, Ben, it puts it in your head. I've done all this work. I've done more work than I believe anybody else is doing. So you get in the ring and you do it. And that's what he's doing. He's training that mental side.
Well, now I've got everything quite professionally done. I've got my massages. I've got my stretching sessions. My sauna, my pool sessions, ice baths. So everything's quite on point, and everything's just at the same time. It just doesn't stop. And there's the best thing is that I don't have any distractions. I don't have anyone bugging me or anyone messaging me about certain things. Everything goes through my manager, and I'm in this. I've got a great team around me. I don't let anything distract me. So everything's going quite well.
I asked before what you would do if you were in Tim's corner, Jeff, for this fight, what your advice would be. What about if you were in the other corner, if you were training Jeff Horn against Tim Tszyu, what would the instructions be?
Again, to beat these guys with that surname, it's pressure. You've got to be great at putting pressure on these guys. And I mean, is Jeff Horn great at pressure? I don't know. He's awkward at it, but does he do things that Ricky Hatton would have done, or does he do things that other pressure like Roberto? No, he's different. So it's yeah, Tim's got. I believe Tim and his team have got to watch video and just see some of the strange things this guy does. Because I remember when I told Manny Pacquiao that this guy's going to take you somewhere you've never taken. And listen, the other reason why Manny Pacquiao hasn't fought Jeff Horn again, he doesn't want another war. He may win, but he doesn't want to go through what he had to go through, prior to winning. These other guys that he fights and the boxer guys, he enjoys that. But the pressure fighters are different. So I just think that the only way that Jeff Horn can win is by putting a lot of pressure on Tim and making him fight Jeff Horn's fight. And that's how fighters win fights. I make you fight my fight. I make you fight what I'm good at. The great thing about Tim is, and the great thing that he's been saying is that he watches all these certain fighters and all these certain styles, and he tries to have a thing to counter it. It's my job if I was Jeff Horn's trainer, if I was Jeff Horn, to make sure he can't counter it, to make sure they get in that position where he can't use his strength. So is Jeff Horn got first of all, the corner to tell him what to do when he goes back to each round? I don't believe he has that. Has he got the mental capacity and the will and drive in his own self? Yes, he has got that. So it's going to be tough because Jeff Horn's going to have nobody when he goes back to the corner to say, son, listen, this kid's doing this to you. You've got to try to do that. All Jeff Horn's going to get here when he goes back to the corner, that was a good round, close round, you won that round, son. I mean, that's all he's going to hear, mate, which is something that you shouldn't be hearing. He should be hearing what he has to do to try to counter what Tim's doing, is try to outthink what Tim's trying to do. And my job as a trainer is to see what Tim's trying to do and tell Jeff, this is what he's trying to do. So tell him to do something else. But excuse me, like I said, I don't think that's going to happen. And that's why I think the fight's going to be very, very difficult for Jeff Horn.
Yep. Who would you like to train if you could choose one of them for this fight?
Would go. Look, I love the way Jeff Horn fights and stuff, but this guy, he's got this amazing eye, and like I said, he's, as much as he says, I think he's born with these genes, that he's got this amazing movement and stuff that his dad had. Kostya's strength was he didn't even use his body weight to punch it. He could punch so hard. It was just from the hip and that movement, that great eye. And look, I see so much of that in Tim. And look, the only way to beat these guys is the pressure and know how to pressure fight by putting shoulder from one side to the other and bumping them backwards, because nobody can punch going backwards. I don't care who you are. You don't have power when you're off balance and going backwards. Can Jeff Horn do that? No. Like Jeff Horn can hold and punch and make it tough. But like I said, I think that overall, I think that this kid's the prospect that he is because and has the favouritism that he has, because people can see that he has a few more strings to his bow than Jeff Horn has.
You've had 15 fights, 11 stoppages. Do you think your power is still developing? Do you think you're going to be, like obviously you get compared to your dad, which is unfair for anyone in terms of your power punching, but do you think you're going to get to that stage?
Yeah, I think I am. I feel much stronger in the prep now than what I was last year.
So you do anything to work on your power, Tim, specifically?
Of course. Every session we do stuff differently. There's certain times where you just for 10 rounds straight, you're just working on power. Sometimes 10 rounds you're doing just one left hook or one straight right. Again, consistency and repetition is what builds. And I've definitely got that.
Who are going to be your main sparring partners for the build up to the Horn fight?
There's going to be a few actually, but I'm going to Gold Coast next weekend to spar Joel.
Yep.
I'm Leary for a few. We're going to spar 3 times. Again, I don't need to specifically spar someone, I believe, because sometimes when you get in the ring, all of it goes away. You sort of need to spar all different types of opponents, where that's how you learn as a fighter to be able to adapt to anyone that comes in the ring with you.
For Tim, I honestly believe this. Obviously, you need to spar, but as long as Tim is super fit and ready for the fight, he'll be ready for the fight because, like I said, styles make fights. It's so funny when you look at people in the history of boxing, like Roberto Duran, for instance, who beat Leonard, beat Barkley, beat all these people, and then Tommy Hearns just knocks him in a round where it's just, and I'll tell you that the master of or boxing coach, I don't care who they say is the best, was Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart, he would tell you exactly, he knew exactly what kind of fighter that his fighter needed to fight, and he would make sure that he got that fighter for you, and he would never let you fight anybody that he thought wasn't the style that you needed, unless you were going to make millions and millions of dollars. And he's done that for Tommy Hearns. I've spoken about it many, many times. So, yeah, styles make fights. And, again, I don't think that Jeff Horn has the perfect style to beat Tim Tszyu. He has the pressure, and he has that, but I don't know if he has mastered the way that enough to beat Tim.
I think the difference is just hunger in this fight. That's styles and all that.
Don't tell me he's going to start eating pizza.
I think it's just hunger because I've got something that I haven't achieved yet, and I want to achieve what he's already achieved, and that's going to be the difference.
Tim, you got a really strong brand. The Tim Tszyu brand is really strong. Do you enjoy the business of boxing outside the ring?
Yeah, of course. But my number one focus is just my boxing, because I can't get to where I want to be, or my brand can't become to the top if my boxing is lacking.
If you if you lose, you don't have a brand. So it's all about winning.
It's all exactly right. It's all about winning and becoming better.
Yeah.
You win, the brand grows.
This is true.
You lose, it goes.
There we go. little poem, maybe to finish it off.
Exactly.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks, Tim. Looking forward to announcing this fight maybe in the next couple of weeks, and then working towards a date. But very exciting and good to chat to you, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
And Tim, thank you for giving us your presence today. It means a lot to all the boxing people, and it means a lot to me too, because like I said, I have watched you grow up, and I really want to say that I wish you all the best, and don't ever let people compare to your dad, or don't ever believe those things. Like I said, just go out and be you, and you're going to reach amazing heights.
Appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks, mate.
Don't forget to subscribe, Standing 8 on YouTube, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.